The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contests, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/thepodcastingdead.
Time for another Walking Dead What If, and if my voice or the quality of my voice sounds better, it's because I'm back in studio and COVID-19 free. I was quarantined because we've been in contact with someone who I think tested positive. So to be safe, we quarantined for 2 weeks, and I'm glad to be out the house.
I can imagine.
You don't have to wear that mask, JP. You don't have to. I'm good. I tested negative. You don't have to stay that far away.
Even still.
I'd give you a hug, but I feel like it would make you really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it usually does.
JP missed me. For the longest time, I was just a voice in his head. Now I'm manifested right in front of him.
It's a strange sequence of events.
So it is time to get back to more Walking Dead What Ifs. You guys left us quite a few in our last one. Remember, keep dropping those Walking Dead What Ifs, because if we don't have What If questions, we can't do the What If podcast. So continue to drop those questions in the comment section. As long as we keep getting questions, we'll keep doing some Walking Dead What If. So Simba Trey, I think I said his name. I think I said Simba Tree last time. Simba Trey is the actual pronunciation. Oh, no, he didn't leave a what if. He was just commenting on last week's. Pamela Ann, says, what if they carried the Rick and his telephone out like in the comics? He kept that thing around for a long time. I really thought they were going to do that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, he was straight up having hallucinations on the show, which he wasn't in the comics. So
yeah. I really thought that the phone was going to be something like down the road you would find in his backpack, like maybe like you forgot about it, and then down the road as he's like going through his bag, you see him set the phone out, showing you he's still kind of got that lingering within, because like he and Michonne I remember they talked in the comic, that was a good bonding moment for Rick and Michonne. Like he tells her, like she learns about him talking on the phone to his dead wife and stuff, and she tells him that she used to talk to her dead boyfriend as well. Yeah. Did they have that moment on the show?
I don't recall them having that exact talk.
And if they did, it wasn't a ton of emphasis on it. I mean, and forgive me. I mean, gosh, the show's been around now for more than going on more than a decade. So. But definitely, I think they should have. Because going back through, like now I've been watching Yellowstone. And, of course, watching so many shows through my life. And I'm going back through now and watching Walking Dead. I'm in season 3. I actually stopped on the episode where Lori's going to die. But you realize that it's a great show. It's one of my favorites. But, some of it isn't as well fleshed out as other shows, if that makes any sense. It's got a faster pace, I think, just moving from story to story. So this would have been cool to kind of slow it down and just really get into, Rick's crazy. But good question, Pamela. Next, for Allie Smith. This question more so pertains to the future of the show, but what if they're building up Connie to take Michonne's Elodie storyline from the comics? I remember Connie telling Kelly that saving the Whisperer baby in the field brought back old memories. How do you think this possibly would impact Connie's relationship with Kelly, Daryl, and the rest of the group as a whole? I mean, if they just bring Connie back, I'd be happy.
Yeah, same here. And we talked in the past about what strong, newer female cast member could kind of fill Michonne's shoes. I think we talked about Magna and, a few of the different
Magna's lack of ability to do that.
Right.
I could see Connie. I really like Connie, man. She's a strong character. She's I mean, to not be able to say anything, you've gotten to know her so well, and she's just great on the show. I really would love for her to come back. I'm so scared she's going to get the Heath treatment. Like she's just going to be gone, and that's pretty much it. But I would love for her to take the Michonne story arc. But according to an article you read a couple weeks ago that you shared with me, I mean, there's talks that Michonne might be coming back to the show.
Yeah, man, I haven't verified that yet, but I have read things here and there that, she's not going to be gone forever. She'll still have a presence. So,
we know she's going to be in the movie, supposedly. But I don't know. I think that'd be cool. I would love to spend more time with Connie. It would honestly make me happy to get away from Magna and Yumiko, because I can keep trying to I think, really force those on you as like your new strong female leads, but I honestly just don't have any attachment to either one. I mean, Yumiko a little bit more so than Magna. Magna, I just am really not that big a fan of her in the show. She just seems more whiny than anything.
Yeah, and I just don't like her name. It doesn't roll off the tongue.
But that could change. I mean, again, there's been plenty of characters I did not like throughout the show, and then as the show progressed, I ended up liking them. So I could love Magna and Yumiko down the road. But right now, I would much rather see Connie come back and get more of Michonne's focus than either of them. I would love to see Rosita. Not that I think Rosita has a lost child, but I liked how she kind of moved from secondary character to main character this season, and I would like to see that continue. I'm just terrified they're going to kill her off, like give her Andrea's comic book death.
Yeah, same here.
Let's see. So great question, Allie. As far as how it would affect her relationship with Kelly, Daryl, and the rest of the group taking on that Michonne role. I mean, the only problem is I don't know that Connie's got any kind of law degree. She was a reporter.
Yeah.
We learned that from Kelly, but I don't know how she would do as a lawyer. But I mean, I think her relationship with Daryl, if anything, I really thought they were hinting at a relationship with Daryl. So I feel like if she came back, I feel like Daryl would just be overcome with joy and just tell her how he feels. I love you, Connie. Well, he would have to say that in sign language, but still. She wouldn't hear that
she'll
part.
Be back soon, man. That'd be a nice little surprise for the season finale.
I don't know why when I do Daryl's voice, to me it just kind of sounds like Dale from King of the Hill.
Yeah, he's almost turned into like Dale meets like Sling Blade. It's an interesting.
I killed him.
It's an interesting amalgamation.
Shut up, Rick. I want some French fried tater tots. All right, Dylan's got 3 for us right here, or actually maybe more than that. Dylan Watson says, "What if the Claim group found Rick sleeping in the bed? What would they have done to him?" Naughty things.
Yeah, they would have claimed that ass.
They'd have took him and drug his ass to the Barn of Pleasures.
Yeah.
Claimed.
And their Barn of Pleasures is not quite as fun-loving.
No, because everybody just claims everybody.
Yeah. It's more like the Barn of Rape, I think.
But, the Claim group, part of me feels like they would have definitely done something sinister, but I don't know. I mean, think about how they treated Daryl. They found Daryl and accepted him right into their ranks.
Yeah, I think if they figured they could use Rick and benefit from him, they would have kept him around. But I think they would have figured out pretty quick that Rick's not down for their brand of justice.
No, and Rick's, Daryl is an alpha in his own right, but Daryl comes off as very passive because he is very take it or leave it with a lot of situations, just kind of like whatever, like he doesn't necessarily try to come into conflict. Where we know Rick is very alpha, and if he doesn't agree with something or doesn't want to do it your way, you're gonna know.
Yeah.
So I feel like at first they might not have tried to have killed him if he didn't wake up and start attacking them. If they would have just kind of got the jump on him and been able to talk, I feel like they would have tried to have get him into their little group, but I don't think that would have lasted long. And especially, as much as I hate to say it, I mean, one dude was going to rape Carl, so we know they're a despicable group of people. Once Michonne and Carl got back, all bets would have been off, because to them, they would have just seen 2 pieces of booty versus, So I think that they would have probably, if it was just Rick, probably not have killed him per se, but I definitely think that it still would have been a collision course.
Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't have ended well.
But who knows? They could have just walked up and shanked him right in the neck while he slept, and that would have been that. Let's see. Dylan's next question. What if Nicholas sacrificed Glenn to get away in season 6? How would that impact the group? Man, I'm not going to lie, and I don't say this because I dislike Glenn. I say this because it would have made some good drama, but damn, that would have almost been the way to go.
Yeah, it really would have.
You wouldn't have had the Glenn dumpster gate. Dumpstergate 2016, whatever that was. Yeah. I loved Glenn. Let me say that first and foremost. I love the character of Glenn from the beginning of the show to when he left. I loved Glenn. I never found Glenn annoying. I never disliked Glenn. I've always been a big fan of Glenn. I do feel his story kind of played full circle, and that's that. But That's one thing that the walkie. I really think that would have just been like. I think that would have been great drama for Nicholas to, Glenn's been trying to rehabilitate. I mean, it sends a message that not everybody in this new world can be reformed, because Nicholas tried to kill Glenn, and Glenn basically put him through Glenn's school of rehabilitation for dipshits. And, it would have been so great to have seen Nicholas as being all like, seeming improved, and then when shit hits the fan, he still throws Glenn to the walkers. And I think that would have been great. I mean, I know in the long run it wouldn't have been as powerful as Negan bashing his skull in and all of that. But still, just think of how you would have felt.
Oh, yeah, man. A lot like the way we felt when we seemingly saw him get ripped open.
Right.
If it had been for real, man, and Nicholas got away, that would have been...
And, I mean, let's say there's a good, solid season where he's with the group and he has kind of melded, gotten in tighter with them, and they have no clue what happened. Like, he just tells them that Glenn sacrificed himself, which is believable because it's Glenn. And, I mean, just imagine that, man. I mean, imagine, like, the feeling your guts would have had if Nicholas, like, you see him put the gun to his head, but then instead he points it at Glenn and is like, I'm sorry, and then shoots Glenn and pushes him off the dumpster, and they start digging into him. You'd be speechless after that episode. You'd be like, what the So I think that would have been better drama. And then I think once they found out about it, Maggie would have ripped Nicholas's dick off.
Yeah.
And choked him with it. I don't think Maggie would. And I would hope that we wouldn't be at the point where, I don't know, man. I mean, you could have had Nicholas go join Negan, which Nicholas was more Gregory-ish. Like, he wasn't really a good bad guy because he really didn't have a spine to him. He just was a shitty person. But I don't know, man. I mean, it played out fine, but I really feel like that almost would have led. I mean, that would have been one of, I could see that being a top 10 most shocking TV show deaths for all of time. Like, people would still reference the Glenn dumpster thing. It's like, I'll never forget when Glenn got killed by Nicholas on the dumpster, man. Like, that messed me up.
Yeah. I think Father Gabriel probably would have got the truth out of him, though, eventually.
With his
creepiness,
just stare at him with that one eye. It's like you think it's hazy because he can't see, but really it's just a vortex that unlocks your innermost thoughts.
Tell you whatever you want to know. Just let me
stop looking at me.
Yeah.
Lick my eye. You won't leave this room until you tell me. But yeah, that would have led to some good drama, man. I mean, I could have seen Nicholas really just becoming. I mean, I almost didn't. I mean, what a good way to write that would have had Nicholas start getting reform. Maybe he does have some guilt about killing Glenn. So in Glenn's honor, he starts actually becoming a good member of the group and being respected and really stepping up. And then that comes out. And can you imagine the conflict you've got there?
Man. And think about if he had ended up getting in Maggie's pants, like they become a thing, and then she finds out that he killed Glenn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. What if Lori was still alive? Would Carl have died in season 8? Yes, to Scott Gimple just makes terrible decisions sometimes.
Yeah. Killing Lori was not a bad. Was that even Scott Gimple's tenure?
No, that was Glenn Mazzar.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, she. I've read a lot in the last few days, being quarantined at home and stuff, and I've read that whole article about Andrea and how she was supposed to be totally different than the way she was written on the show, and kind of like we talked about with Jesus, spent all this time with the comic and learning this character and trying to put all into it, and then when the scripts come out, she's just written so opposite of her comic book character. And the comic book character comes off as strong and independent and just this force to be reckoned with and intelligent, just all these great features, whereas in the show she just came off as like kind of pathetic and constantly trying to prove herself, which was never proving herself to the group, was never anything in the comics. She just was naturally a good member of the group and became a really good shot and became a very strong weapon for the group. Whereas in the show, it's almost like she has daddy issues and is constantly trying to prove her worth to people, and it just didn't pan out at all. And then like how she was supposed to, it was supposed to end with her killing the governor or whatever and taking over Woodbury and getting with Rick and all of these other great things that they just... So, yeah, and Lori, I read her backstory where she said that she got a call from Glenn Mazzar. It was very kind of, hey, you're going to die this episode type deal, but I don't know. I still think her death was well done, though.
Yeah.
For a character not many people liked, she had an impactful death.
Yeah, I was not sad to see her go. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Just like I know you weren't sad to see Andrea go.
No,
I remember you texted me that day, and you were so excited. No. You were like, "Hell yeah, get her ass off the show!"
That hit me pretty hard.
But if Lori was still alive, I still think Carl would have died. But then again, I don't know, because what made Carl be willing to help this guy was the fact that his mother was dead. Mm-hmm. You know, this guy was, which is stupid as stupid of a, that was a stupid plot point. Like, my mother thinks their souls are trapped, so in order to, I have to kill them to honor my mother. Okay, yeah, let's just put me and the only friend I've apparently had in a really long time's life's at risk for my mom. You know, I mean, like, but being that Carl lost his mother, that made Carl more, you know, and as a mom's whole point was don't let this world break you and don't become a like, you know, be used to don't, you know. So, I mean, all of that had a big part to play in him dying. I mean, if Lori was still alive, he might be a little snotty brat and he might have been like, that's stupid. I'm not helping you, mister. And I don't know why he talks like Leave It to Beaver from the 1950s. Gee golly, mister, that sure is stupid. I'm not helping you. Bye.
Yeah, definitely some of the weakest writing from the whole show.
Oh, yeah.
That whole plot point was just stupid.
I take it back. I do feel like Carl would probably be alive if Lori still were alive, because without having that connection, you know, it's kind of like Batman and Superman and Batman or Superman Returns or whatever that was. Great actors, great characters, terrible movie. Like, just not the right movie. It's like a buddy and I were saying. Ben Affleck, in my opinion, in my opinion, it's one of my favorite Batman. Like, I thought he was an awesome Batman. Great Batman, wrong movie. Like, we could have just had that Batman in a better written movie. Fantastic.
Agreed.
Henry Cavill is Superman. I like it. He plays it very well. Just not in that movie. He didn't. It just wasn't a good, you know. But
little sidebar. Have you seen the new Batman trailer?
Love it.
Oh,
I haven't. Knock on wood. I haven't heard one person so far. I'm sure someone will in the comments. But as far as my group of friends, not one person said anything bad about it.
Oh, dude, I thought it looked great.
It's like Batman Year One, and like he's going to get his ass kicked a lot because he's learning to be Batman, which I love when he beats the crap out that guy. And it's like, I am vengeance. Yeah. But I think a lot of people have changed their opinion about what's his face playing Batman, Twilight guy. Yeah. I know his name, and I don't know why I can't think of it. Robert Pattinson. A lot of people changed their opinion because, I mean, I remember when they were saying, like, that's such a stupid decision. I'm like, but have you seen other movies, though? Like, I know Twilight sucked. He hates Twilight apparently as much as everybody else. Right. He said that he hated it. But he's done other movies that show he is a good actor. Like, he's actually, he's not just this little teeny bopper. Like, he is a good actor.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like with Joaquin Phoenix as a Joker. I was like, dude, I give him a chance. He's a good actor. And, you know, you got to step back and let a good actor do what they do before you rush to judgment.
Yeah. The only thing with Pattinson I was worried about is his, is he big enough to be Batman? But I think he is.
Well, and I think he grows as Batman progresses. You know what I mean?
Up a little bit.
Yeah. But anyways, back to The Walking Dead. But actually, no. But kind of like how, you know, Batman and Superman. Batman stopped beating the crap out of Superman when he's mentioned Martha. Say that name. What name was that? Whatever he said. I glaze over every time I watch that movie because it's so long. Yeah. But it was so long and just so blah. But, you know, I feel like if Lori were still alive, he might not see the importance of honoring this dude's mother's wishes and been like, all right, well, I'm out. I'm not helping you do that stupid shit, but if you do want a place to live, holla at your boy. Maybe I could let you into to Alexandria.
Yeah, it could have played out any way on Earth and been better than what they did.
Yep. Carl should have never died. Period. I mean, especially, and I know they don't follow the comics to the letter, and I'm fine with that. But I'm sorry, like this ultimately becomes Carl's story, and that's the point. I mean, and what's bad is Carl leaving is half the reason why Andy Lincoln wanted to leave. I mean, he definitely said he wanted to go spend more time with his family, but he even said that he just really didn't see playing this character in this storyline anymore because that was like his engine. He compared Rick to being a plane, and Lori and Carl were his two engines, and you already took out one, and so he's having to work overtime, and then you take out the other, and the plane doesn't fly anymore. Yeah. That all of Rick's drive and goals are just, forget the fact he has another daughter, whatever.
Right.
But so yeah, no telling how much better the show would be. Not that it doesn't have its good. I'm digging the last couple seasons, but still, how much better it would be with Carl and Rick in all of these scenarios. Yeah. Let's see. Dylan George says, "Am I the only one who wishes all of our main characters would have been in the lineup?" Didn't they ask that last?
I feel like we've done that.
I feel like that was a question. Maybe it was somebody different, but no, Dylan. They were in the comics. That's the crazy thing. In the comics, you had all of your main people. Okay, no, somebody had asked, but I think Enid should have been there to at least see Glenn die. I agree. Also, I hated the storyline I gave Carol in season 7. I didn't like. I don't think anybody liked Recluse Carol.
Oh no, that was whack.
Oh my God, quit pouting. I have to kill people, and I hate it, even though a lot of the people I've killed have been trying to kill me, which, oh my God. Yes, feel bad for burning Tyrese's girlfriend and that guy. That was pretty terrible, but almost every kill you've had since then was in defense or saving someone, you know what I mean? Like the wolves straight up attacked Alexandria, and you killed several of them, but they were killing your people and trying to kill you too. Carol's I hate killing just gets kind of old after a while.
It does.
It's like that's this new world. Are we trying to rehash the Tyrese story arc, but with her, she just can't adjust to this world where she has to kill because, damn it, she seems to have adjusted pretty damn well.
Yeah. That was another just bad piece of writing.
Did not care one bit about. Whenever they flashed to Carol, I'm like, I don't give a shit about Carol and her little cabin off to the woods. That was so stupid. I agree. I feel like when you were going to kill a season 1 veteran like Glenn, you should have absolutely had all of your season 1 veterans there to see it.
Yeah.
In that lineup, you could have replaced Aaron with Carol. You could have definitely worked it to where all of the people that Glenn, really, for the emotional impact, everyone that, knew and loved Glenn from the beginning should have been there to witness him die.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You should have had Carol in that lineup. Let's see who else was missing. Well, Heath, but he wasn't from the beginning, but he was in the comic. But I think you should have. And with respect to the writers, they did have most of them. But I agree, Carol should have definitely been in there to see that happen. I would have loved to have seen Morgan in that lineup.
Oh, dude, yeah, I didn't think about Morgan.
All life is precious, Negan. Hot damn! This guy's like Dr. Phil with a stick. Oh, man, but back to Dylan. Watson says, what if Glenn and Abraham met Ezekiel and Jerry? Would they have liked each other? Dude, there's no way anybody wouldn't like Jerry.
Oh, yeah, come on. It's like saying you don't like ice cream.
And Ezekiel. Ezekiel's a very likable. I've said many times that whenever Ezekiel goes, that's going to be one of my saddest moments because Corey Payton is one of my favorite people on the show. King Ezekiel is just such a fun character and, has been through so much. But, yeah, I think Glenn and Abraham might have been a little baffled. Like, are we really going to trust these two people running around calling themselves king and blah, blah, blah? But having Glenn there and Glenn being the reasonable person he is, I think Glenn would have seen the good in him and been like, I don't think they mean it to hurt us or anything. Dylan George also says, in regards to thinking Jesus and Enid would... Okay, so this is coming back... Oh, that's really long. But he just talks about... okay, so Dylan George is responding last week because he had asked if Maggie was still there, did we think that Jesus and Enid and all these people would still be alive? And we said we didn't, but he gave... So check that out in the comment section. It's a long comment, but he definitely gives great explanation for why he feels that they would still be on the show. Dylan, we appreciate you putting so much thought into it, my friend. Dylan Watson. Twin Dylans here.
Ooh.
What pleasure. What if Deanna and her family were still alive in season 10? I guess they would be up in the tent.
Yeah.
Deanna tried too hard to run things like the old way. She was a politician. and she did mighty fine at politicking. But at the end of the day, that old way of running things just does not float when there's thousands of walking dead people that want to eat you. I mean, she would have had to have. I imagine to have survived from her season, which was what, season 6? Season 6, because Deanna died before they met Negan.
Yeah.
So Deanna must have died somewhere in season 6. So, yeah, because season 5 ended with Reggie getting his throat slit, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure he's in Yellowstone. He's got a small role, but he's in Yellowstone, which if you haven't watched Yellowstone, you should totally watch Yellowstone. It's awesome. But Reggie gets his throat slit in the season 5 finale, and then Deanna dies in season 6. I would imagine for Deanna to still be alive, she would have had to have hardened up a lot.
Yeah.
It says, and her family. So, I mean, I guess we're talking about Reggie. I mean, Reggie's just cardigan, like, very prim and proper. I don't see Reggie getting hardened at all, to be honest with you.
Not a hard man. No.
Deanna went out like a trooper, but, I mean, Spencer was just a douche, which I'm not going to lie. I thought he was more douchey in the comic than he was in the show. Like, I didn't like him in the show, per se, but he wasn't as bad. Like, I mean, back when we reviewed that episode, I mean, I kind of felt bad for him because when Negan was like, so you're saying that I should kill Rick and put you in charge? Like, he didn't just immediately go, yeah, kill that piece of shit. He was like, no, I didn't say, he wasn't saying, like, go kill Rick. He just is saying, like, he's trying to politic the way his mama would. Yeah. Just let me be in charge. So, I mean, I felt bad. He was being a weasel, but it wasn't like this conniving kind of like kill Rick when he sleeps kind of, bullshit. So, I mean, he was a douche, but I felt kind of bad for TV show Spencer in a way. But at the same time, I don't miss him one bit.
No.
But they would have had to have hardened up a lot. Also from Dylan, what if Negan killed Sasha and Eugene instead of Glenn and Abraham?
Sasha and Eugene.
I don't think it would have impacted this. I don't think it would have impacted. I mean, it would have. Okay, I don't feel like it would have emotionally impacted the story as much. I mean, it would have definitely impacted the story because you would have had the whole Eugene and bullets and Eugene saving the day. I mean, ultimately, if Eugene died, who knows? They might not have won this war because they only beat Negan because Negan had them, man. Negan out-strategized Rick. I mean, the way he sent those fake plans and they had them all in the middle of this little valley with, saviors. I mean, crossfire. There's no way out. They all would have died. So without Eugene, we might have lost everyone. Without Sasha, I mean, I don't know. Sasha was a good character, and I just felt like her death was kind of stupid. I know they were just trying to give that Holly from the comic death, but they should have just gave that to, because Holly wasn't a huge character in the comic. She was a love interest of Abraham. When it happened, you were shocked, but for some reason, they just figured on the show it had to be, I guess, a bigger character to take that. But I don't know. I think Sasha deserved a little bit better, and it was a heroic death. But it ended up being fruitless. I mean, it'd be different if she came out and chomped down on Negan and ultimately saved the group through her sacrifice. But, I mean, all Negan did was like, honey, damn, and pushed her off of him, and then everything was back to business as usual. Yeah. So, I mean, Sasha dying, I don't know. It would have been sad. And being a Southern gentleman, being the Southern gentleman that we are, watching a man beat a woman to death with a baseball bat would have just irked my soul.
Yeah, that would have been a little much. It definitely would have been out of left field, though. Wouldn't have saw that coming.
No. But, I mean, now Eugene being gone could have been devastating. Like I said, I don't think it would have been nearly as emotionally impactful as the two deaths that we got. But I think the repercussions of Eugene being gone would have been, honey, damn! Let's see. Simba Trey says, what if Dr. Jenner this is a good one. I remember seeing this one. This is a good one. We're going all the way back to season 1.
Oh, boy.
What if Dr. Jenner decided not to commit suicide? Do you think him and Eugene could have actually created a cure? And what changes would have come from having an official scientist on board with Rick and our group through the seasons who knows most about the virus? Or if he joined the governor, do you think he would have helped the governor with his zombie testing with Milton since he actually knew more about the virus on a molecular level than Milton? Milton always struck me as a guy that was playing a scientist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't realize until going back, he's the record producer that and Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, man.
When Johnny Cash basically, waits outside and catches him when he's going in. And like, that's Milton.
Huh.
But, He's also in another show my girlfriend watches, which is funny because his character's a lot more outgoing and more focused.
Yeah.
He's a very good actor because you see how different he was in The Walking Dead from his other roles. But Dr. Jenner being alive could have been a game changer. I mean, I don't know if he would have made it being on the road with Rick in the group the way they did. And, I mean, I just imagine. I like to think more of him like maybe getting into Woodbury or something like that. I feel like that'd be a little bit more appropriate for him than like a farm.
Yeah, it definitely would have been interesting, man. Just, I think he would have shut down that whole experiment with the governor and just been like, dude, you're an idiot. You know, this is not how this works at all, right? But yeah, that would have been all right.
I mean, it definitely. Like I said, I felt like Milton was playing scientist, you know, because he was definitely a smart guy, but he was just like, I'm probably the smartest person here, so why not just try and be a scientist? Yeah. And, but I don't, I mean, I do want, I feel like, and I completely respect what Robert Kirkman said. You know, he said in the comics. Now, the show may give a explanation as to what this virus is, but Robert Kirkman said straight up, I'm not fooling with that. You know, so many zombie video games and stories and movies, they give you this very specific reason, like or very specific explanation of what the virus is, where it came from. I don't feel like that's necessary. You know, this is more focused on people surviving the situation than it is the zombies themselves. The zombies are an obstacle.
Yeah.
You know, whereas the people and human nature is the focus of the story. And I completely respect that. I mean, if you want to know a zombie explanation, play Resident Evil, go watch any Romero movie. I mean, you get that a lot. So, I mean, I can understand that. But human nature is we're curious. We like to fully dissect things. So it would have been cool to have Jenner longer in the story to provide us with some. I mean, because what would have been cool is Jenner could have been the one to shoot down the whole Eugene. I'm a scientist trying to get to D.C. to discover a cure. Because Jenner could have straight up been like, wait. You're trying to get to Washington. What division are you with? And then just completely break that shit down and, you know, be the revelation that Eugene is full of crap. He's a very smart guy, but he's not been put in charge of. So that could have been a really cool thing. Maybe he's been with Negan this whole time, not by choice per se, but, you know, somehow got hooked up with the Saviors. And it'd be cool if he was like a recurring character. Like he would have been in Woodbury. After Woodbury fell, he left. Never really knew what happened to him. Then he pops back up and with the Saviors. It's like, dude, I'm just trying to survive, man.
Man, who's to say he's not the guy in the mask? You know, maybe there was a monster at the CDC. He rolled up under it when it exploded.
He rolled up under the woman that stayed down there with him. Yeah. You know, he just pulled her on top of him and it scorched her. And then he was like, woo.
Right. He's doing just fine. So who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. But, no, that would have been cool. I definitely would have loved to have had someone there to give us more. Like I said, just imagine him coming face-to-face with Eugene. And you know, like when maybe Rick recognizes him, and he's like, this is Dr. Jenner. He was working on a cure. We met him back in season 1. I mean, back in the beginning. Dr. Jenner, we have our own scientist who's trying to get to D.C. Eugene, come here. Oh, I don't feel I should... It's just like, wait a minute, what? There was no research being done in D.C.? What are you talking about? I was at the CDC. We were the last beacon for the United States. Oh, boy, I'm in quite a pickle. Speaking of pickle, I sure would love a dill pickle. Oh, man. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. And finally, Taylor Madden says, what if they took one episode out of each season that was all about Negan and his story? Season 1 could have been about him in the hospital with his wife and how the apocalypse started for him. Each episode would explain why he does what he does and how he got to the place he is in 616. Do you think it would have changed the audience's view because we would have known his backstory and his reasoning? I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, when you watch a show like Yellowstone or Sons of Anarchy, when you really think about it, because Andrew Lincoln won an award like many years ago for The Walking Dead as like best anti-hero. Now, like, how is Rick an anti-hero? Yeah, I mean, I guess traditional Superman style hero he's not, but I mean, Rick never. Like an anti-hero is like Jax from Sons of Anarchy. Like you're legitimately pulling for one of the bad guys, more or less. You just because you've seen his backstory. You feel he's got the moral high ground on some of the things that he's doing. And even if he doesn't, You know him. You don't really know these other characters like that. So, of course, you're pulling for him. Yep. Yellowstone's a lot like that. I'm telling you, if you haven't watched Yellowstone yet, give it a chance, man. It is a great show. But a lot of times you're pulling for the bad guy. Like when you really zoom out of the situation and look at what's going on and just take a second to like break down the philosophy of this and who's right and who's wrong, you're ultimately pulling for the bad guy. Like there's one character, and this didn't spoil nothing big in Yellowstone. This is a time. There's one guy who gets, out of prison and joins with these cowboys, and there's a certain and it's like there's a certain group within the cowboys that have this brand. Now, if you wear this brand, it's like gang, like you're in it until you die. That's the vow you take by wearing that brand. And one guy is like, I'm not, I'm just trying to tell you after he gets the brand, I'm not going to do anything illegal. Like, I'm here to do farm work. And that comes in a conflict. And you're pretty much rooting for the guy that is mad at him. But let's back up for a second. The guy is out of prison trying to earn an honest living. And his only stipulation is, I'm not going to break the law. I don't want to go back to prison. But and this other guy wants to take him out for that. And you're ultimately cheering for the guy who's, you know what I'm saying? But it's just because it's well written. I think if you would have gotten to know Negan from the beginning of the show to current, of course it would have been a whole lot different. I mean, you would have sympathized with his character more, but I feel like it's for that very reason that they shouldn't have done that. Nothing's better than hating someone and then slowly learning to love them on a show. That's the best kind of writing. It's easy to take someone like Rick or Carl, someone you've been with since the beginning and you love them. That's just longevity. I mean, sometimes you just can't help but to love them because they're the first thing you saw in the show. But Negan, from the beginning, I feel like they should have done that, but after we met Negan. Right. I feel like what they should do is from after we met Negan, we needed to think of him as this new big bad. Like, holy crap, this guy's someone to be feared. Like, this dude's not playing around. I mean, if we would have gotten to that point, you'd have just been sympathy for the devil type thing. Yeah. So I think it would be great to learn his backstory, but I don't think we probably, in my opinion, and you might, if in an alternate universe they might have done that, then it might have been wonderful. But I feel like we needed to have that like aura of mystery and like who the hell is, especially people that weren't familiar with comics. Oh, absolutely. Like who the hell is this guy? Holy crap, know? And then through future episodes, we could have gotten flashbacks and started to have learned his character. Yeah. Because those are my favorite kind of bad guys to root for are the ones that you start off hating.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about, like, Jamie Lannister.
Yeah.
What'd you think of him in season 1? You probably hated him more than anybody.
He was a prick.
Yeah.
And then, once he had his whole story arc with Brienne, you started to kind of see some good in him. And then as it transitions, taking out season 8 because that just makes no sense. You spend all, but up to season 7, Jamie really just did a 180.
Oh yeah.
Sidebar, something that really I hear people do it a lot. I probably used to do it until I caught myself. You hear people going, he did a complete 360. Yeah, that's a complete circle, meaning you turned around and just went right. Like if I was, if I was an asshole and you like Justin was an asshole, but he did a complete 360. So he's still an asshole?
Yeah, I've heard people actually quite recently. I'm just like, Jesus.
It could have been me, but I try to catch myself. But a complete 180 is where you turn and do the opposite of what you were doing. So if you had been an asshole this whole time, but you were now nice, you pulled a 180. You're going the opposite direction than you were originally going.
Oh, words are hard.
But no, I definitely think it would have been cool to see Negan's backstory. I just don't know that we needed it from season 1. I didn't think about that. Season 1 and season 6, that's a long time until he's actually introduced to our group. I mean, you got to really have, and I know it's one episode a season, but I mean, you got to have, and then on top of that, though, one episode a season stretched out, you might not have had time to really connect with him like that, But I don't know. It could have worked out. Yeah. Definitely think we need his backstory. Because that's the only thing missing from Negan. Jeffrey Dean Morgan has portrayed him incredibly. The character has completely turned from vile, despicable piece of shit to someone we're actually rooting for. Yep. All that's missing is to now understand why he did the things he did.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'd enjoy like a Here's Negan kind of episode.
That's what I dig so much about Yellowstone, man. Like, there's this one character, Beth, which I think you're going to love, JP. I honestly think that in the cinema world, this character would be like your dream girl because she's just a train wreck.
Oh, well, nice.
But, and I mean that in a great way, but like this girl, her character is just like, it just steals the show. She's fantastic. Uh-huh. But, like, you really get her backstory, and you understand why she is exactly the way that she is. Okay. And I won't tell you any further than that because I want you to watch it. But, like, you really, like, it makes perfect sense why she behaves the way she does, why she looks at things the way she does, and why she's just relentless. And you see her back, and she's been through some shit. And she's, you know, and I mean, they do that with a lot of different characters, kind of show you why they are the way they are. Rip is another one of my favorite characters on that show, and you get his backstory, and you can see, oh, it's great, man. I just, backstories for characters can really just add a whole new layer at the way to your viewing experience. I mean, when they cry normally, you might not cry with them, whatever, but like if you were to see their backstory and realize the struggles they've been through and they have this one moment of happiness and they're crying because you've seen what all they've been through, you cry too because you're just, you're being, you got empathy for them. So I definitely would love I really wish we'd have gotten more background on a lot of these characters, to be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely.
I wish they'd have taken speaking of Lost, Sawyer from Lost is now popped up in season, I guess now that I'm in season 3 of Yellowstone.
Okay. Sure, that's a nice little treat for you.
It is funny how the times change, though, because when Lost was on the air, every girl wanted Sawyer.
Yeah. Every girl.
Like Sawyer, I'm pretty sure he was a lot like, because the guy that played Ragnar in Vikings, he was, and I might be wrong on this, but I know it's someone, I don't know if he had really acted much. Travis Fleming, maybe? But he was basically a Calvin Klein model. And somebody's like, yo, you look the part, and then he ended up being a good actor. And I'm pretty sure I had read that's what Sawyer from Lost was. Like, he was pretty much a model, and then they got him into acting, but he didn't really have an acting background. But, like, every woman and their mama wanted Sawyer back in the early 2000s when Lost was going. And so my girlfriend, he hadn't changed that much. I think Lost ended in 2010. So the show that he's most well known for ended a decade ago.
Right.
And I mean, he really hadn't aged much, but I asked my girlfriend, I was like, you think he's hot? And she was like, I was like, really? You wouldn't do him? And she's like, no. And I'm like, just the times have changed, like he was the guy every girl swooned over in the prime of Lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But yeah, thanks for the question. Sorry, I'm a little blessed. My first time back in the studio in like 2 weeks, so I'm just kind of readjusting to not being in my basement. I'm just so used to being in my dimly lit basement. Oh, man. But leave us those Walking Dead what if questions, man. I love them, love them, love them. And I mean, like, I've got mad respect for some of these other channels out there, like George Drake, and it's a ton of other really good Walking Dead channels out there that, because there is a lot of stuff to talk about, but with us, I don't know, man. We just really didn't want to be one of those channels that every time somebody's like, Michonne's coming back, bam, make a giant video about it. I know it's a great way to get views and it's a great way to keep your fan base up, but I don't know, man. Like, if we come to you with like rumors that, I don't know, that Glenn's coming back, and we want to make sure they're pretty concrete rumors before we just throw a video out there for clickbait. And not saying that that's what those YouTubers are doing. That's what their like YouTube career is, to talk about The Walking Dead. So I get it. They gotta, but so Walking Dead what ifs allow us to stay conversating about The Walking Dead between seasons.
Yeah.
Because it is hard. I mean, we don't ever want to not be talking about The Walking Dead because that's how we started. But I mean, come on. We're not even like moving into a new season here. Like normally at this point we'd have all kinds of crap for you because, we've heard that this person's returning and that this. We're just waiting on the finale, which we've discussed a million times. So these really hold us over well and giving us material to get out to you by you. So if you want to keep the Walking Dead what ifs, if you enjoy listening to them, maybe you don't even normally comment. Just throw something random out there, man. What if Carl had been a girl? What if Rick never found Lori and Carl, or what if
had pickles for fingers,
right? What if Shane would have been more turned on by the idea of having a trifecta with Lori and Rick versus just wanting Lori to himself?
That would have been the way to go.
What if Rick showed back up and Shane decided he loved Rick and they were both cheating on Lori with each other? I mean, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Lori, I found this barn in the woods with the king Ezekiel. He calls it the barn of pleasures, but he says you're a grabby ass and you're not allowed in.
Oh, no.
Plus, that ain't my baby. Oh, man. But poor Dare Bear would have just been on the outside like, I don't even want to be in that stupid trifecta.
Yeah.
I'm going to go eat a squirrel.
Yeah.
My kid. But anyways, we love you. Sorry for the extra goofiness, man. I just feels good to be back in the studio, but at the same time, it feels miserable to be out my house.
Yeah.
Like I'm happy and sad at the same time. I got very comfortable at my house, but I wanted to get out. Now I'm out. But leave us some Walking Dead what ifs in the comments. Don't matter what it is. What if Dale was a lizard?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Plot twist. Dale's one of those lizard people David Icke talks about.
Yeah.
Just like bites Shane's head off, and he's like, "I'm doing this for the group." I saw where somebody took. I watched going back through season 2. I saw where somebody on YouTube had taken a thing making Dale look to be a creeper, and Andrea's like, "You watch me all the time. I turn around and you're just watching me." Just showed like one of those clips of like Dale face. But we'll catch you with patrons. By the way, before we go, Patreon. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/thepodcastingdead, or just go to patreon.com and search for The Podcasting Dead. We do Tuesday and Thursdays are Patreon exclusive podcasts. We talk about a little bit of everything, and we give away free stuff. So for as little as $1 a month, you can get 8 extra podcasts. But if you want to throw 5 or 10 out, we would love that too, because, hey, it helps. But even at just one, we're cool with that.
Yeah.
And even if you don't want to be on a Patreon, just the fact that you listen here, we're okay with that.
Just give it a like.
But go check it out. Check that out, and we'll catch patrons tomorrow, and we'll see the rest of the general population on Wednesday for Weird Wednesday, where we're going to have our buddy Julius in the studio. Right. We're discussing God and ghosts. Okay. Like, how does Christian religion and ghosts intermingle? Like, what's the relations? Are ghosts possible through the Christian faith? Are ghosts maybe real, but they're not what you think? I don't know, but we're going to talk about it with Julius on Wednesday, and I cannot wait.
I'm excited.
So make sure you tune in for that, and we'll catch you soon. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead. Damn, that was a good hug.
Oh, my
I did not realize you were such a good hugger. I know you missed me. I miss you too, buddy.